Hello again, plant tribe. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Nikki and this is my channel. I think that probably goes without saying. Yeah, probably. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for coming back again and again, like the gluttons for punishment that you are. I appreciate it so much. So today I'm going to show you two new plants that I got that I am so excited about. These I got on a total whim, had no intention of ever finding either of these plants, and my plant fairy godmother Paula came through again. She went up to this nursery quite a ways north of where we are, and she came across these plants and I flipped out, let me tell you, because they're not really something that we usually see around here. So I was really excited and I asked her to get them for me, and I'm gonna show you what those are. So if that's something that you are interested in watching, go ahead and stick around and I will show you what I got. Okay, so before I get started, I am just going to start off by saying thank you so much for watching this video. Your support is so important to me and so much appreciated that I try to tell you guys as often as I can how much I really do appreciate you know, you taking the time out of your day. I mean, you don't have to do that, and you do, and you sit here and you watch, and it really means a lot to me. So I want to thank you very, very much for that. As most YouTubers will tell you, you know, the best way to support the YouTubers that you love is to try to watch a video all the way through, to go ahead and share the videos with, you know, friends and family, or, you know, on your Facebook or something. That is the best way that you can help us out. Obviously by watching ads, by engaging with us, talk to us. I always respond to my messages. It may not be immediate. I try the best I can to keep up with everything. But yeah, okay. So you just want to see the plants I got today, right? Okay, let me get to that. So I actually only have two plants to show you today, but when I show you the plant, I will also tell you some of the care tips that I found about these plants. Now, neither one of these plants I've had before, and so it's going to be one of those scenarios where it's like, here's what I found out about these particular plants and their care tips and that kind of thing. And then down the road, when I've had them for a year or so, I'll come out and maybe do like a full care video on them, provided they're still alive, knock on wood. I'm usually pretty good at not killing rare plants. I just jinxed myself. Okay, I'm just gonna show you before I get myself into bigger trouble. Okay, so the first plant that I want to show you, this one, I've been kind of like, I've seen it around quite a few times. I knew about it, and it's kind of been like in the background of my radar, if you know what I'm saying. So it's one of those plants that I was like, you know, if I happen to come across it, I'm definitely going to pick it out, but it's not one of those ones I would actively seek out that would be like on my wish list, for example. But she sent me a photo of this one. It's the first one she sent me a picture of. I was like, oh my gosh, you have to pick it up. Please pick it up for me. So this first one is the Philodendron Turnham. Now, this plant is super cool. It doesn't look like your typical philodendron. It most definitely doesn't look like your typical philodendron, like your Hartley philodendron or anything like that. It's very different from what I have in my collection, and I'm really trying to like diversify my collection so that I have different textures, different leaf types, different colors, different patterns, and that kind of thing. So there's just a lot of different things to look at. And so that's why I wanted this one, is because it just is so different. And I know it is coming off a little more yellow. That might be because of my my softbox, but this is a really cool plant, and it's growing really well. I need to get these repotted, so at the end of this video I'll go ahead and repot them off camera, and then I'll just kind of show you like a final, like, you know, what they look like. So it does have a new leaf here. Let me just show you. So cool. This one kind of, and there's a new leaf coming here. So this kind of reminds me sort of, I got the Amidrium zippalaneum I think that's how you say it. And so it kind of reminds me of that. It's more of a wispy frond type leaf as opposed to like a solid leaf like most of the plants that we have in our collection. And I love it because it's unique, just like me, and quirky. Anyways. Okay, so let me tell you, I've written down some of the things that I wanted to tell you about the information that I have found. So none of these, keep in mind, are personal facts that I have found out about this plant because obviously it is new and I don't know firsthand yet. But again, I will do another video down the line after it's been in my collection for quite some time, and I will tell you what I have found to be the best care tips for this plant. So, I read that it's actually a hybrid, although it's really difficult to find any information on this plant. So to be honest, I don't know what it's a hybrid of or anything like that. So if you have one of these, if you know, please let me know. It may not even be a hybrid, but that's what I read. So, you know, everything you read online is the truth, right? No. Anywho, so what else did I find? So these can grow, and like I said, I don't know the validity of any of this. It may or may not be the case. They can grow anywhere to 3 to 4 feet tall. However, I seem to recall the some of the video footage of the aroid show that I saw last year. I believe it was a Philodendron Turnham that actually took #1 in show or best in show or whatever it was. And I feel like that plant was a lot taller. Am I imagining that? Was that even there? I don't know. You guys tell me. But what I read says 3 to 4 feet tall, but personally I think that they grow bigger than that. It does not like super dry soil. As you can see, the leaves are a little wispy and more of like almost like a fern type leaf. Therefore, they can't hold on to as much moisture. And so they don't prefer the soil to go dry at all. So if you touch the top of the soil, this one is extremely dry. I actually just got these this morning. And they desperately need a repotting and a watering because it's extremely dry. So as soon as I'm done filming this, I'm getting them right into some decent soil and some new pots. So they don't like dry soil. So if you touch the top of the soil and it's dry, water it. They really like a really thorough watering. So water all the way through, let it drain through. Again, as most aroids, don't let it sit in a like a wet. Don't let it sit with soggy wet feet. So don't let water accumulate in your tray and just leave it sitting in there. Doesn't like that. Most plants don't. It's typical in that it likes a well-draining aroid mix. So the aroid mix that I use would be perfect for this. So it's just a mixture of perlite, bark, soil, and I think that's about all I put in mine. But it's really heavy on perlite, which gives it really well-draining properties. So these guys like indirect light because the leaves are rather wispy and they can't take direct sunlight at all. So you definitely don't want these in direct sun because it will instantly burn these tiny little leaves. And you don't want that because they're too pretty. You want them green, not brown and crispy. So no indirect light, definitely bright indirect light. So nowhere near direct sun rays. From what I understand, they're super easy to grow. I think they grow rather quickly from what I've read. And so that is really exciting. Now, I didn't see whether they were a climber, but if I look at the stem here, I don't know if I can get a good visual on that. It looks to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's happened once or twice. I'm just kidding. But correct me if I'm wrong, but this definitely looks like it's a plant that will climb, like grab onto a moss pole or something like that. So that's kind of the growth pattern that I'm seeing. But again, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. You let me know. That'd be great. Also, I did read that they like a little bit higher of humidity, probably between 60 and 80%. Again, I don't know if that's the case. I know that most plants, you know, you'll see plants where people are like, oh, they have to have really high humidity or they won't do well. You'd be surprised at how adaptable plants are. So it's very likely that once you get a plant into your home, it is extremely likely and almost 100% that the conditions in your home will not be anything like they were grown in, that they were kept in. They were probably grown in a greenhouse type scenario with high humidity, amazing circulation, and that kind of thing. So your home conditions are really going to differ. So don't be surprised ever if you bring a plant home. It may grow some new leaves, but the likelihood of those older leaves falling off is really good because those leaves aren't accustomed to. My neighbors all have really yappy dogs. Eli doesn't bark ever unless there's somebody lurking around at nighttime and I'm home alone. Okay, there we go. I think they're okay for now. I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh. Humidity. Anyways, so plants to a degree are very adaptable. So it will become accustomed to your home conditions. And this is not general. Some do and some don't. But for the most part, I found that a lot of my plants have kind of lost their leaves that they came with and grown new ones that are accustomed to your home conditions. Now again, that's not saying like you can bring it home, throw it in 20-30% humidity and it'll be fine. It probably won't. Because they are tropical plants after all and do come from a tropical environment, and they are they will acclimate to a degree. I hope any of that made sense at all. It made sense in my brain, but I'm not sure it translated out my mouth. So that is pretty much all I had on this plant. I am so excited to see this plant grow. Here's a couple pictures of what this plant looks like when it gets big. So I am jazzed. I know I use that word a lot. Anyway, I am jazzed to see this plant get bigger because I think it's just going to be such a statement piece and just something so different from what I currently have in my collection. So that is the first plant, the Philodendron Turnham. Okay, the next plant that I was able to pick up, I was really excited to find because I haven't seen them up here at all. And I know that this is a big up and coming plant this year. So when Paula sent me a picture of this one, I kind of lost my marbles a little bit and I was like, I don't care, pick it up for me. Oh, I will put the prices that I paid for these plants at the bottom of the screen. I know I should have said that earlier. You probably already saw the price that I paid for the philodendron. Anyways, just so you have an idea, which both of these plants I think was an amazing price for these, especially up here in Canada. Anyways, so the second plant I got is this guy. Now, I know you guys are sitting at home going, Nikki, you already have a Monstera Peru. This is not a Monstera Peru. It is called a Monstera, oh, what do they call it? Monstera Spider-Man. There's another word in there, but I'm forgetting it right now. But it is not a Monstera. Now I can definitely see how you could mistake it for a Monstera though. Let me show you what the difference is. Here is a photo of my Monstera Peru. Now take note of the stems and the petioles, I should say, not the stems, but the petioles on this. So you can see the petioles on this are really long. Okay, and then you can see, I can't remember the term for this right now. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen because it's not coming to my mind. But if you look here, you can see where kind of the petiole meets, oh, I don't even know if you can see this little bump like right here. Those, so glad my dog doesn't bark. Okay, nope. Okay, I think we're good now. Hopefully. Now I just completely lost my train of thought. Anyways, I'm gonna put a picture here of the growth pattern and the petioles and that kind of thing of my Monstera Peru. And now if you compare that side by side to this plant, you can see how different it actually is. Completely different growth pattern. Yes, the leaf right now is fairly similar, but even the leaf is not going to stay that way. You can see that this one definitely will be a climber. So I am sure, and again, I haven't looked into this, but I'm pretty sure that this will be a climber. So I will get him on a moss pole when he gets a little bit bigger. These leaves are also substantially thinner than the leaves on the Monstera Peru. The Monstera Peru's leaves are very, very rigid and rippled, where these ones may look like it, but really they're not so much. So, I don't know if it's in my notes, but I will tell you this. So this is a juvenile plant. So the leaves right now do not have any fenestrations or splits in them. However, as the plant matures, it will start to split off. So I'm going to show you here a series of photos from the juvenile plant as it goes up into a little bit older, and then a little bit older still until it becomes this mature form. And these are just stunning. Now I'm pretty sure that this is the medium green Imidrium, but I'm not 100%. It's still pretty small, but it doesn't look like it has any of that bluish tint. So I think it is the green variety. In any case, I was so excited to see it that I absolutely had to nab it. So some info on this plant. So it does prefer indirect light. It does not, from what I read. Now I did read conflicting information. One website I read said it prefers bright light. And then most of the other ones that I read, most of the other ones I read said it likes indirect light and not to have direct light on the leaves. So here's another one that I'm throwing out to you guys. If you have one of these, let me know. Does yours like really bright light? I can see it really getting faded out easily if it gets too much light, but I could be entirely wrong. So let me know. Oh, it is a climbing aroid. Apparently I did know that and I wrote it down. You can kind of tell by the growth pattern and where the petioles come off of the stem when you look at a plant, whether it's going to be a climber or not. So this guy will definitely benefit from a moss pole. So I'm going to have to create some more moss poles, I guess. So they definitely do have this gorgeous, beautifully textured leaf color, and just as they get older, that becomes so much more prominent, like this photo that I showed you earlier. And I am like so psyched for that. The one thing that I did read on these plants is they're extremely slow propagators. So that's another thing, if you own one of these plants, that you could tell me, but I heard and I read that they propagate really slowly. So that's not something that I'm going to be able to personally tell you probably for quite some time. I'm hoping that it grows more quickly than it propagates, but time will tell. We will see. So I guess they actually originate, the Imidrium medium, and I'm sure other Imidrium species originate from Southeast Asia. I just bit my tongue. I can't just shoot a video and have it go normally. Okay. They come from Southeast Asia. These braces are coming off soon, by the way. I'm super jazzed. They like most aroids and that kind of thing, they like a well-draining soil mixture, but this is another plant that does not like to get dry. So again, when the top of the soil gets dry, give it a good flush all the way through. Are you serious? And now one of my other neighbors is mowing his lawn. Okay. Okay, let's try to wrap this up before somebody starts running a chainsaw or something. Anyways, so they don't like the soil to dry out, so you want to make sure that when you do water it, you really, it needs a good well-draining mixture, but it also needs to be heavily watered all the way through, and it does not like to dry out completely between waterings. So that is all the information that I found on it. Please let me know your care tips if you have one of these, or if I have misread something or I've read some wrong information and you know that it is completely inaccurate, but let me know. I'm really excited to see this guy get bigger and start splitting and fenestrating and all of that goodness. Okay, so that is the 2 plants I got for you today. Super excited about them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these put into their pots because they are extremely dry, and I think they could benefit from Nikki's aeroid soil and some of my terracotta pots. So hang on, I'll come right back and I will just, you won't see me again, so I guess I might as well close this video out. But I'll give you a little, you know, heart-shaped leaves, sexy time sort of a video, just so you can see them after they get potted. So thank you so much for watching. I am so glad you stayed around until the end. That is so helpful. It means a lot to me. So I hope you all have a great day, night, week, month, and year. I love you all bitty bits, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah!